Hey guys, this is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. We're here in the garage to review a bike that we really wanted to include on our best air bikes recent video. We did a full breakdown on the best air bikes, and in the comments, there was one bike that people talked about more than any other, and that is the FringeSport Raptor. The reason we didn't review it is because it hadn't come out when we shot the video, but now we are going to and compare it to the others that are out there. Teaser alert, this may be better than the Echo bike. I'm not just saying that so you watch the rest of the video, like it may be. Let's talk about it. All right, first off, the FringeSport Raptor bike is designed, just so you know, to beat all the other bikes. It's like they took all the specs of all the other bikes, all the positive things I've said about all the other bikes, and tried to create a bike that like meets those specifications. What I mean by that, you're looking at it. It looks very similar to like the Titan Air Bike or the Assault Air Bike in its design. It's a little bit bigger, wider, heavier. In fact, this is the heaviest air bike on the market. It weighs 3 pounds, according to the spec sheet, more than the Rogue Echo bike. It has a really wide base, so like as far as stability, it's probably one of the most stable bikes on the market. It feels very similar in the width of the legs to the Schwinn 80 Pro, which again is one of my favorite bikes. It has a similar fan blade and fan design to the Assault bike as far as its size. It's not as wide or big a fan blades like the Echo bike, but the fan blades are metal. It's got turf tires included in it. As you can see, water bottle cage, phone holder, and the shroud over the fan so you're not blowing cold air on yourself when you don't want to, all included in the price. And best of all, but wait, there's more. Best of all, it's using a belt drive, which is a much more maintenance-free design than a chain drive. Okay, there's kind of the basic specs. Let's get into each part and I'll tell you what I think about them. Let's start in the front. This is the fan system. This is what's producing all of the resistance. The way this works, any air bike, is the harder you press against it, the harder it pushes against you. So you're basically man versus machine. Machine will always win because it's using a variable that has basically infinite resistance, because the harder that fan spins, the more wind that it's sucking in there, the more resistance it has to have. So that's one reason people really like them in garage gyms, because you control the resistance that's in it and there's no like having to fiddle with anything. It just goes. I will say the fan blades appear to be a thicker gauge than what's used on the Echo bike. And it feels that way. It's not the easiest bike to start. I don't mean like it's very hard to get going. It feels very similar to the Echo bike to get started, which part of that is due to the belt drive, which I'll talk about in a moment. Now, one thing I love on this, and everybody knows this, is these turf tires. Turf tires, if I could have these on every piece of equipment in my garage gym, including my squat rack and barbell, I would have them because they are so nice to make it easy to move. This is a 130-pound bike, which means it's heavy to move around, but the turf tires make it much easier and they come included. It's very solid to move. Like, I just love the addition of the turf tires. It doesn't change anything about using it, but if you're somebody that's with a garage gym and likes to go outside and use it inside like I do, it's a great addition. And I love that they added it just like Titan did on their air bike. Now, the feet that are on here, it's got a wide base. This is positive and negatives. The negative is it's taking up more space, but it's not so much more space being taken up than other air bikes that are on the market. So because of that, I like the addition of the wider feet. It makes for a heavier bike. It makes for a more stable bike, which means when you jump on this and really get ripping, like there's no like shaking back and forth. I really have to give it a lot of like side to side sway in order for that to happen. So if I'm able to just put everything I can into it and not shake it, then you mere mortals definitely can. On the back here, there's also a welded handle. Again, I like to pull it from the front, but if you like to pull it from the back, you can do so as well. It just makes it another easy thing to move, and it's included in the bike. Now, the adjustment system is just like we see on most bikes. It's easy to do, and it allows both vertical and horizontal movement. So you adjust this knob, you pull back, then you're able to have up and down. It's not stepless, so there is numbers and holes in here. I prefer stepless like we see on some like higher end bikes, but it's not that big of a deal. But this back one is stepless, so you can go back and forth any increment that you want very easily. I will say this feels like a more accommodating bike than the Echo Bike in terms of sizing. So the Echo Bike, there are a lot of people that complain, like their wives or just smaller people have difficulty using it because it's a big bike. This isn't that way. It is a big, heavy bike, but they made the seat short enough and the arms close enough that it feels very similar to like an Assault Air Bike when you're using it, which means it accommodates a lot of different sizes of people. Now, to the belt drive. The reason I like belt drives is because it's a better technology. It requires less maintenance. You don't have to oil it. You don't have to adjust the sprockets. For a home gym, it's not a major deal because you're not putting a ton of use in them. But for people that are using them a lot, say in a CrossFit gym, or they're having multiple people come to work out, or they're leaving it sitting for a while and then they go back to use it, a belt drive, a polygroove belts like that are in here is a much better option. So I'm a big fan of them. I'm glad they added them. Right here is this shroud. Again, not a huge deal, but this is something that a lot of people buy for the other bikes. This, at the price it's listed for, which by the way is less than the Echo Bike by a small margin, does allow you to have it free of charge, included, already installed. So other accessories included, water bottle holder, which you can put a water bottle in, surprise, and then a phone holder included in the monitor. Now the monitor style is modeled after the Assault Bike. It just doesn't feel as intuitive as an Assault Bike. It doesn't have as nice of buttons. They're not color coded, like basically aesthetic things, not a huge deal. For what you want it for, it works. Like it's got everything you want included in it, from watts to calories, time duration, distance. You also have preset intervals, so you can do Tabata 1020s, 2010s. You can create custom intervals, target time, target distance, calories. You can also connect it to pretty much every heart monitor that's out there. From a monitor perspective, again, like most of these air bikes, they don't have tremendous monitors. They're not like the PM5, the performance monitors we see on rowers, but it gets the job done. Now just the overall componentry. Everything on this bike feels high end. Like the pedals are metal. They're not like a cheap pedal. The connection points at the arms, like again, it's metal with a nice bushing. These are thick gauge steel metal arms. Like there's a reason it weighs more. And oftentimes with gym equipment, if it weighs more, that means it's more durable. That doesn't mean it's necessarily better, but a heavier bike typically means it has better materials, less plastic. It does have some plastic in some areas where it makes sense, like this shroud here and also the shrouds around here, but most everything else is metal. Like there's just a lot of metal on here, except for some accessory points for like, these are plastic to put your feet on, just basic stuff. I mean, even the knobs are knurled, which is something similar we see to like the higher end bikes. So with all of that said, how does it compare to the ones on the market? Well, if we look at the price point, the warranty, the weight, it's all like better. Price $745. Right now, the Echo Bike is $795. The Assault Air Bike is right around there. I mean, pretty much every like higher end bike that this would compare to is a similar price point, if not a little bit more. This includes all the accessories that you'd want with it. I think the Titan Air Bike is maybe a little bit less depending on discounts and things like that, but it also has a chain drive. And this includes some extra stuff that doesn't, like this shroud, and it's overall just a better, bigger bike. It also has a 3-year warranty, which is one of the highest, longest warranties out of any of the air bikes. And FringeSport is a company that's been around for quite a long time, almost as long as Rogue, I believe, and they're known to service their warranties. All that said, like, this is one of my favorite air bikes. I'm not kidding. This is one of the best air bikes on the market. Is it better than the Echo Bike? I think it's difficult to say that spec-wise and just right here, first impressions. I think it is better than the Echo Bike. You got to remember, they're both made in Taiwan, China, similar places. So it's not like the Echo Bike's made in the USA or something like that. The price point is great. The warranty is better. Like, they basically tick the boxes and said, how can we be better in every way than the premier air bike, the Echo Bike? And this is what we've got. Now, we'll know in a couple of years after it's been used a ton as far as durability, but from my perspective and just first impressions, this is the best air bike out there, and I definitely recommend it. This thing it's legit. Okay, what do you think of it? Would you compare this to the other bikes? Have you used it yet? When you're looking at the specs, like, it's like, It's a rap sheet. It's pretty cool to see how they basically went down and said, how can we win in all these categories? And that's not typical in my experience with FringeSport. They're typically not innovating in that way. What oftentimes they're doing is making like cool aesthetic changes. So I love that FringeSport is going this route, and I can't wait to see these in more home gyms. If you'd like to buy one, we got a link below the like button. This is Coop from Garage Home Reviews. I'll see you next time. Peace.